today's episode of Watch Jericho, we are back with the C5 Corvette drivetrain, and today I plan on having this thing ready to go back in the car. So as you guys know, yesterday we left off with needing exhaust gaskets so we can get the beautiful new Hooker black heart headers on there. So we're gonna make that run right now. And then I think we're gonna go grab some bread because I don't have a pilot bearing puller tool. I usually rent that thing from O'Reilly's. I don't think we even need to take this out because of the distance that's between the rear of the crank, because the flex plate comes out and then you've got the little clamp and the snout and everything that grabs onto the torque tube. So there's a lot that goes on between this shaft right here and this bearing. So I think it could technically stay, but the other engine doesn't have one in it, so I guess we're gonna go ahead and pull this out. We'll either go rent the puller tool or grab bread. Honestly, the puller tools usually won't engage the bearings very well and they flop out and you don't win. So maybe we'll just grab bread anyway. So we've got a snack and we've got a bearing puller. Also, I've got a shaft here we can hammer on, and that's just about the right size to get this thing out. So let's hop in the truck, make a run, and get this all bolted up. We're here at the home of the bread. We gotta figure out what bread we're gonna get. I guess the grade. I don't really know how they grade bread, but we're gonna figure out something cool. Apparently we are not at the headquarters of bread. They only have two kinds. We gotta pick wheat or classic white. What do you think, Darrell?
I mean, wheat's got the grains, right? So maybe it'll be a little bit thicker, a little bit more of a grab.
I think you're supposed to use white. I mean, white. But if we're gonna eat it, you know,
white packs well.
All right, fine. That's what we're doing.
Cool.
Let's get some gaskets. Hopefully the last trip for gaskets on this car. What? All right, we got exhaust gaskets. Back to the shop. Put this thing back together. Let's get this bread. For real though, I don't know if the heel works very well. I'm just gonna put that. I don't know. I'll never eat that. So we went to Walgreens to buy this bread, and we got the bread after, you know, it took forever to find because of course they only have 5 loaves of bread in the whole store. So once we got to that point, I needed some stamps so we could mail the title for the Cayenne to the new owner. Okay, we're gonna have to shear this off. I don't think that's enough, but let's find out. Just keep ramming the bread in here. Yeah, not even close. So I was like, can you throw some stamps on there for me too? Because Walgreens, you know, they got stamps. And they were like, absolutely. And we did the stamp deal, they rang it all up. And then they went to look for the stamps and they had to search the whole store. It took quite a while. And then they came back and were like, we don't have any stamps. So our plan did not work very well, I can tell you that. I think we're almost to the bread limit. No, we were not. You just push right through it. It was like feeding the ducks at the zoo. Yeah, I got the old LS6 duck. It's one of the biggest ones. Somebody's gonna come around and ask if I'd rather fight 1 horse-sized duck or 6 duck-sized horses. Okay, I think it'll take a little bit more. We're switching to a bolt that fits the pilot bearing a little bit better, trying to get some good bread fill going on here. I think we've kind of got it where it needs to be. Get this thing started. Okay, it's going in. Here we go. It's coming out. More bread. I know it's more bread. Yeah, I don't want to keep hitting the back of the crank, so we'll just keep shoving it in there. It's gonna be the most compacted bread. And then, are we eating it after? Putting it in the toaster?
Yeah.
All right, here we go again.
Call them toaster sticks.
It needs way more bread, huh?
Yeah.
As the bearing comes out, you gotta just keep stuffing this thing in there. Last time I did this, I used grease. Grease makes the world's biggest mess, but it worked so much better. The grease was like instantly perfect.
I mean, you're definitely making progress.
Oh yeah, it's coming. Here we go again. It needs way more bread, but we're just about out.
Now, how thick is the bearing?
It's about out. It's probably halfway.
Okay.
More bread. A few more hits and the bearing popped right out. Now we get to get our our new pastry out of here. Made a donut hole. Almost got it. All right, we'll just pull it out in chunks. To open up our pretty new exhaust headers. Oh yeah. Passenger side there. And we went to O'Reilly's, of course, like we showed earlier. Picked up some MS92 467s. And this should be all we need to get these things mounted up. And yeah, put the water pump on it. I think that's it. I think that's it. We're so close. Now the pilot bearing's out, we can make this thing back up. We can put the flex plate back on. So in the next few minutes here, we're gonna rock and roll through this install. So one cool thing about these gaskets is the Felpro ones, I've talked about it before, have these little hooks. So there's an up and a down. So it says like this side out and down. Yeah, exactly. And you just put 2 bolts in the manifold. So we're gonna go ahead and hang it right now with our outer 2 bolts. Gonna go just about like so. Once this is done, we can put the oil dipstick back in too, which is nice. Here's our 2 bolts. Grab our gaskets. Literally just drop them in and put the other bolts in. As always, get all your bolts started before you get too far because you don't want to have alignment issues and have 2 bolts down. So I'm honestly just starting the first couple threads. We'll run them down with the cordless impact as always. And then we are going to torque these because it's nearly impossible to get a good exhaust manifold seal on an LS. You pretty much end up with a leak one way or the other. So the one thing we have found is those really good gaskets we used on my FE in the 65 Ford. Those gaskets, the Rimflex gaskets, they will solve the problem because they have so much material and they crush down and they end up never leaking because of how they're designed. They work really well, but they're also special order, and these are right down the street. So you know which ones get used. Every build we do, just the old Felpro gaskets pretty much go in unless we have time to order the Rimflex. Time to snug these things up. There we go. We'll come back through with the old, I usually wouldn't bother torquing these things, and I think typically we just evenly tighten them and make like 3 passes, but we'll make 3 passes with the torque wrench to try to make sure these never leak. Also, a bunch of people were mentioning RTVing the oil pan gasket yesterday, and if you guys look right here, you probably have to come around. You can, if you guys look right there, you can see plenty of squeeze out from the cover RTV. I'd say that looks pretty good to me. Also, you're not supposed to need RTV there. I know everybody recommends it, but those things have fingers, like gasket fingers, that protrude past the surface, and they're supposed to interact with the other one and stop all the leaks. I mean, I get it. Sometimes it doesn't work. We do have RTV in there. Exhaust is all wrapped up here. Now we just need to get our dipstick back in. We just put a new O-ring on the dipstick too. So, am I off by one? Is that the deal?
Looks like it went in.
It goes in like so. There we go. And we'll wiggle it down in the hole. Flywheel time. Let's see. There we go, got it lined up. Seems like that one started, so that's our reference here. Go ahead and... Honestly, it's gonna work, even leaving these bolts trapped in there, I think. Rotate the collar, tighten them down. Flex plate. Everybody's gonna throw a fit in the comments. You said flywheel, it's a flex plate. Oh gosh, they're not interchangeable. They're not the same thing on the back of the crank. Nope. Aneurysm. That's what happens every time. Get this tightened down and move on to the water pump. We're about there. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll the case into position. Oh man, it doesn't roll that easy. We're pretty close, right?
Right in there.
Okay. Oh, wow. We were that close. I didn't know what you meant by pretty close.
Yeah.
All right, so here it goes. Did it just go all the way in?
Yeah, sound like it slid in. Yeah, it's just right there.
Almost.
Need a little lift.
We might need to give it a little twist. Oh, I'm too high.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Just a little.
Here. All we have left over here on the water pump is putting new gaskets on it, which I've got over there on the engine already. So we're just gonna clean up the water pump surfaces real quick. They look good. That's how I leak check engines. All right, water pump going on. New gaskets are on there. The fun part, of course, is getting these things started without dropping the gasket. Should be close. Come on, girl. There's one. Dinner's up. Anyway, some people did mention shutting up the old dinner bell water pump there by switching to like the LS2 water pump, something like that. All the modern water pumps don't have this gigantic bell on the front of them that this thing does, which is annoying because it's just in the way. But at the same time, like, I don't need to spend $300 to fix nothing. So we're gonna go ahead and put this back. Click, click. Water pump installed. We'll run through all these one more time. And ding ding. Drop my socket right where I can't get to it. Get this bad boy lined up. It should sit right about there. I know I'm close. So there's one. And the fun part is I don't want to take the pulley off the power steering pump. So we're doing it in the bracket, which means getting this one tight and then getting this one tight and just kind of working through these bolts. So this one has to go on first because it's the longest bolt. It takes the most wiggling. Lift plates coming off. Valley covers going on for the last time. We're going to torque the valley cover with the little impact. Putting the bolts back in the valley cover for the last time here. And I'm just going to say the impact, put it at 18. All right. I'm gonna hook the knock sensor up and we're gonna put the intake on. This thing is ready to go in after that. Intake going on. Oh, I might die. You know how they say to always do this on a proper work surface, like a step stool. That's what I'm doing. Okay. Yeah, everything's set under the intake. Start all these. I think we're good. So we did talk about it in the other video, a previous video. This thing has, I think, Volvo 41-pound injectors, which is a huge upgrade from the LS1. Has like 26-pound injectors. So these are 9202-100 injectors with the EV1 connector, or whatever we call that now, US card, something like that. And it's a lot more fuel, so that'll be really nice for a lot more power. Well, old bread didn't let us down. Steam port's hooked back up. I'll get that clamp on there. This is, of course, the line to the radiator here, so we'll leave that all twisted up so it's out of the way as we put this thing back together. Exhaust is on, power steering pump's on, I mean, the intake's on, basically everything's on. We're ready to put this back in the car, which I plan to start on that tomorrow. But the AC compressor bracket, I was putting it back on, and you can hear the bearing shot in that. This one's brand new, this one's brand new. Let's check out. That one sounds all right. It's not clicking or anything like that. So I've got a new tensioner coming tomorrow. It'll be here at like 8, 9 in the morning, something like that. Let's see, we got everything. The O2 sensors are in the exhaust. Torque tube's mated back up. Of course, we got it splined back together. I mean, everything's done. I think this thing's wrapped up. AC compressor will go on once we pull the bracket back off and change out that tensioner. AC compressor drops on, and that's it. That's everything that needs done outside of the car, I think. I took a quick look around, and we should be there. So, lots of progress today. Can't wait to turn this thing sideways and slide it back in tomorrow. So one more trip. That would have been if they had it, it would have been the third of Riley's trip today. We just keep living there. At least the bread worked. That was kind of the trickier part of the day. We didn't know how that was going to work since last time I did use grease. The grease is just such a pain to clean up. The bread, very easy to clean up. Now there's just bread all over the floor. Anyway, that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop.watchjerryrow.com for cool shirts just like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. And I will talk to you next time. I should probably note that it needs another oil filter. That one's crunched up a little bit. So we do need to do that before it goes back in. Man, it's ready, right? I mean, I think it's ready. The spark plug should go in now, and I got to throw away most of the boxes that were on the floor. So we're down to just a few boxes left. That was a big pile, and now it's a much smaller, more convenient pile. That intake, I need to pull the vacuum hose off, and I guess we're gonna keep the evap stuff. I hate to do it, but I guess we're gonna keep it. Race cars don't need evap, but this one's gonna go ahead and keep it because it's like a kind of a blend, a mild build. And then the vacuum booster hose has to come off that intake and go onto this one. I think that's everything. Cool. Pretty pumped.